Brain, spinal cord, and all the neurons in the body together form the nervous system of the body.
The brain is the central part of the nervous system. The nervous system consists of two parts. They are central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system consists of two parts. They are brain and spinal cord. Likewise, the peripheral nervous system involves two parts. They are cranial nerves 12 pairs and spinal nerves 31 pairs. Brain is a very delicate organ, so it needs to be covered for its protection. There is a hard bony cover known as the skull. But the skull is not enough for the brain, so it has its own protective layer. This protective layer is known as the meninges. Between the layers of the meninges, there is a cerebrospinal fluid. The functions of the cerebrospinal fluid are to provide nutrients and oxygen to tissues of the brain, regulate the pressure inside the brain, and to protect the brain from injuries. Parts of the brain are cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, hypothalamus, and thalamus. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Many fissures and folds are seen in the cerebrum. Neurons and nerve fibers are found in the cerebrum. The cerebrum also controls thought, intelligence, memory, imagination, and sensations. Voluntary movements are also controlled by the cerebrum. Now let us cut this brain. There are two parts, cortex and medulla. What is cortex? The grey colored outer part of the cerebrum is known as the cortex of the brain. The white matter is found in the inner part of the brain known as the medulla. Under the cerebrum is the second largest part of the body, the cerebellum. Under the cerebrum is the cerebellum. The cerebellum coordinates muscle movements, mainly those maintain body's equilibrium. After the cerebrum, it is the medulla oblongata. Structure is seen below the cerebrum, near the cerebellum. It coordinates involuntary actions such as heartbeat, respiration, digestion, and sleep. The next part is situated above the thalamus, above the medulla oblongata. Thalamus is the relay station of impulses to and from the cerebrum. Hypothalamus is situated below the thalamus. It helps to maintain the homeostasis of the body. The spinal cord is the second part of the central nervous system. It is placed inside the vertebral column, covered by meninges, transmit impulses, and also coordinate repeated actions such as walking and running. Here you can see the cross-section of the spinal cord. The central canal is seen in the center of the spinal cord, filled with the cerebrospinal fluid. A dorsal root and a ventral root join to form a spinal nerve. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves arising from the spinal cord. In the spinal cord, white matter is seen outside and the grey matter is seen inside. Sensory impulses reach the spinal cord through the dorsal root and motor impulses reach the related muscle to the ventral root. We get a stimulus when our hand is touched on a flame. The receptor cells in the hand create a suitable impulse. The suitable impulse is carried to the spinal cord through the sensory neurons. Interneuron that connects the sensory neuron and the motor neuron generates quick responses according to the sensory impulses. Then, through the motor neuron, the information is carried back to the related muscle. The related muscle here withdraws the hand by the action of the muscles. This is the pathway of the impulse or the reflex arc. But all the reflex actions are not under the control of the spinal cord. We blink our eyes when light suddenly falls on our eyes. This is also a reflex action. Such reflex actions under the control of the cerebrum are called cerebral reflexes, and a reflex action under the control of the spinal cord is called spinal reflexes.
Taste, touch, sound, smell. These are the senses that evoke responses in organisms.
Thirst and hunger formed inside the body. Receptors are specialized cells that receive stimuli. Next part is neuron. Neuron looks just like a tree and is the basic structural unit of the nervous system. These are the main parts of the neuron. They are dendrite, dendron, cytoplasm, nucleus, cell body, and then the axon and the myelin sheath that encircles the axon, which is made up of Schwann cells. In the video, she knew that she was about to fall, but she stretches her hand to save herself. She understands that she was about to fall. This message was passed through the neuron. This is how the message is passed throughout the neuron. The outer surface of plasma membrane of the neuron is positively charged and inner surface is negatively charged. This is due to the difference in the distribution of ions. When stimulated, the distribution of ions in that particular part changes and hence the inner surface becomes positively charged and outer surface becomes negatively charged. This momentary change difference stimulates its adjacent parts and similar changes occur there too. As this process proceeds, impulses is transmitted as electrical charges. Now let us see how the electric impulses pass from one neuron to other. Space between these two neurons is called synaptic cleft. The electric charges from one neuron passes through the synaptic knob to the dendrite of the other neuron. This takes place with the help of chemical substances called neurotransmitters. They stimulate the adjacent dendrite or cell and new electric impulses are generated. Acetylcholine and dopamine are examples of neurotransmitters. Synapses help to regulate the speed and direction of the impulses. Synapse is a junction between two neurons or a neuron and a muscular cell or neuron and a glandular cell. Activities that take place beyond the conscious level are controlled by the autonomous system. This is a part of the peripheral nervous system. The sympathetic system and the parasympathetic system together form the autonomous system. This takes place when we are in an emergency situation. Our heartbeat increase, rate of respiration increase, and bulking of eyes, etc. Generally, the sympathetic system does the following: prepares our body for stressful or emergency situation. Thus, the sympathetic division increases heart rate and force of the heart contracts. This system also widens the airway to make breathing easier. Slows body processes that are less important. For example, digestion and urination. The parasympathetic division controls the body processes during ordinary situations. Generally, parasympathetic system conserves and restores. It slows the heart rate and decreases blood pressure. It stimulates the digestive tract to protect energy from processed food. This energy is used to restore and build tissues. A healthy nervous system is the basis of normal body activities. Even minor defect in the nervous system can cause serious health problems. Here are some diseases, their causes, and their symptoms. The first disease is Alzheimer's.
കുട്ടികൾ നമുക്കെപ്പോഴും കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളാണ്. കൗമാരോ യൗവനോ ഒക്കെ വന്നു പോയാലും അവരെപ്പോഴും നമുക്ക് കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളാണ്. വൈകുന്നേരം വാങ്ങിക്കേണ്ട വെജിറ്റബിൾസ് സമയം തെറ്റി രാവിലെ വാങ്ങിക്കുക. ഓടിച്ചോണ്ട് വന്ന സ്കൂട്ടർ മറന്ന് ഓട്ടോറിക്ഷയിൽ പോവുക.
എന്തരാണ് ഇവിടം വരെ വരാനാണ് ഈ കറക്കങ്ങളൊക്കെ കറങ്ങിയത്?
ഓഫീസിലിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ അത് വീടാണെന്ന് തോന്നി ബിഹേവ് ചെയ്യുക.
This is a clip from the Malayalam movie Tanmatra. In this movie, Mohanlal is acting as a Alzheimer's patient. Accumulation of insoluble protein in the neural tissue of the brain. Neurons get destroyed. Loss of memory, inability to recognize family and relatives, inability to do routine work, etc. are their symptoms. The next disease is Parkinson's disease. Destruction of specialized cells called ganglions in the brain. Production of dopamine, a neurotransmitter in the brain, gets reduced. Due to this, they suffer from loss of body balance, irregular movements of muscles, shivering of body, and profuse salivation. The next disease is epilepsy. You have seen that what is epilepsy and what are the first aid to be given to an epilepsy patient. Continuous and irregular flow of electric charges in the brain causes epilepsy. Epilepsy can cause continuous muscular contraction, frothy discharge from mouth, clenching of teeth, followed by the patient falls unconscious.